Hey everybody, my name is Jay and we're talking about Nightmare today. If you haven't watched my video titled I Got Every Character in Soul Calibur 6 to S rank and this is how I did it yet, please do so I'll be going through this character in the same format that I discussed topics in that video, and I'd rather not make the same disclaimers in each video. Nightmare overall was a bit of a tough character for me, as the slower the character, the worse I do typically. But his overall power in regards to his damage and armor, and most of all backdash, makes him relatively straightforward to play even if slower characters aren't your thing, like me. Nightmare is certainly someone you want to try if you like hitting someone only a few times to win the game, pressing soul charge a bunch, commanding the pace of the match with movement. Now when it comes to block punishes, for -10 you don't have anything, -12 you don't have anything, 14 you got 3k or k, 16 you got 6k, -18 you probably want to go with 6k again. What may come as a surprise to almost no one in the Soul Calibur community at this point, block punishment is not Nightmare's forte. In fact, that's kind of an understatement. Nightmare's block punishment is the worst in the game in most situations. He's the only character that's unable to block punish -12 moves that keep the character standing, so you can expect knowledgeable players to lean on this advantage against you. Once you have Terror Charge, -14 and -16 become quite strong with things like KB and 66KK, but as I said, the ramp mechanic needs to be achieved already. There's not much variety of moves or ways around this weakness, as it's the main weakness that keeps Nightmare from being the absolute strongest character in the game, so it's just something you have to build around. When it comes to wall rising moves, the name of the game is Wall Rising B. This is the move you walk around with at mid-range, then step duck a bunch to kind of fish with it. Perfectly fine damage, even if you don't get the lethal hit, and it has a solid hitbox. This move is a bit slower than most at -16, so you can use it for ducking grabs if your reactions are on point, but you may need to go for something faster for duck ties or moves with faster recovery. Wall Rising K can potentially do the trick, but unfortunately no I-12 block punishment is available unless you can somehow get cheeky with your crouch grab. Wall Rising A doesn't have much use as a wall rising punish unless you really have a read on someone hard sidestepping. Then you can get the Wall Rising AA counter hit combo. It's a bit reckless and desperate to try this, so I would advise against it right off the bat. Full Crouch 3B can also be used for gigantic reads on highs or grabs, assuming you really have the timing down well. Nightmare Oki consists of a lot of 6-6B. Most people, when you're starting out, won't even know how to punish it. It does really solid damage if they lay on the ground. It's a huge launcher plus meter plus ramp mechanic if they get up and duck for some reason, and the range is huge. More often than not, I was completely fine eating the punish 3, 4, 5 times over just to get them to stand block on all knockdowns. Once you've got that, your mid-low mix-ups aren't all that great, and you have to resort to like 2As, 2Ks, and grabs. Techable knockdowns where people tech up and hard sidestep can potentially be caught with 2-2A, or 4-4A hold, or just regular 4-4A. You can even create some close Oki situations where 4-4BB can be kind of like a force block. There's a lot of getting people to block with this character's Oki, rather than actual damage, as the guard damage and the plus frames are the setup for how he really wins. Now, when it comes to grabs, Nightmare's grabs are huge. If you dash forward and go for a grab, grabs will basically circle the earth, and it's really annoying to deal with for the opponent. Nightmare isn't much for lows in most places, and its mids do so much damage that you end up getting a lot of stand blockers in a lot of mid-range scenarios, providing you plenty of grab opportunities. Forward grab gives you great Oki, and the back grab changes the positioning and does a reverse ring out. Your best bet in a lot of places where you know your opponent is aware of Nightmare's grabs is to go for the least beneficial one, meaning going for the back grab when you're in the center of the screen, and going for a forward grab when the back grab could potentially ring out. This is identical to the situation you can pull up with his flapjacks, where one would ring out, the other would be virtually guaranteed. Forward grab Oki can provide you a lot of good stuff. My typical move was to get a 2A on hit into a backdash. Rarely do people want to duck against Nightmare for the reasons I explained before, so the 2A typically hits, which then causes people to feel like they should mash afterwards. And if you've got Terra Charge, that's a 6's KK or a drill for you, and isn't that neat? So the first thing to understand about pokes and movement with Nightmare is how polar opposite his movement is. You're looking at one of the worst sidesteps, and you'll find yourself getting caught by verticals on a regular basis. Your backdash, on the other hand, is one of the strongest on the roster. A lot of Nightmare pokes are centered around getting a small amount of frame advantage in backdashing. On many small, faster characters, you'll first think that the armor will be your savior to deal with mashers, but more often than not, I find Nightmares don't utilize the backdash enough instead. Similar to Siegfried, AGA is going to be quite important for ways to catch sidesteps on technical knockdowns, and for mid-range spacing to set up backdashes. The whole 2-2A series was something I used a lot due to its range, damage, and the fact that it rarely got punished since it's string. If you want to play it a bit safer, you can just do the first hit of 2-2A, since people are usually timid afterwards. You've got 6K, you've got 6B for armor as your pokes, as you'll rarely beat people out in terms of speed. But getting your armor activated gets you 6's KK and KB and drill. I find new Nightmare players really lean on 6's KK way too much, without confirming a whiff or a proper block punish. I understand since the reward is so high, but you really don't have to play it that risky. Drill does practically the same thing, but also beats options like blocking, and can even catch sidesteps sometimes. It's crazy. A single backdash into a drill can win a round all on its own, and getting it blocked provides a wealth of opportunities for chip damage kills and guard crush futures. For other simple pokes, 3K, 2A, and most importantly, Jump K can help out a ton. Jump K especially is quite non-committal with a lot of advantages like a knockdown, evasive property, and stuff like that. For easy big-time combos, you've got 3B into B-Slide A. You've got 6XB into 2A plus B. These are the things to look for when you don't have Terra Charge and you get a really big whiff out of your opponent, or you catch them on a Twitch duck, etc. But try not to focus on these too heavily, as they are pretty slow. If you only use these as your combos, you'll find the opponent just recovers in time. So don't be afraid to just get smaller punishes when you're starting out. When you've got Terra Charge, drill is pretty good. And you've also got, 6's K, into Wall Rising B, into 2A plus B. Hell, even getting someone to block drill, like I mentioned before, can sometimes be enough. The ramp mechanic and your meter are gained so easily and quickly, there's no reason to be precious with it. Getting some chip into plus frames can be enough if you get the opportunity so many times, because you're just going to soul charge again and again. The damage you get off single hits is really huge, especially when Terra Charge is involved. Essentially, the big weakness Nightmare has is going to have to go over most matches is being overwhelmed by people throwing small hits at you without really committing to something you can punish. Best way to counteract this is with backdash, armor, jump K, and reverse ledge. His is particularly fast. If you can get out of range and use AGA and drills and 6XB to interact with the opponent even just a few times, you're going to be a winner. And then as you progress with the characters, you'll find many more guard crush opportunities and 6's KK ring outs that'll make your spacing game even more dangerous. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Do all the YouTube stuffs and like and subscribe, and continue for more characters in the future, yeah? Thanks very much.